The reason we're here is to talk about wild yeast and to make our own wild yeast bread. So you can use any, fruits, even some vegetables that are higher in sugar. You can use herbs like mint leaves, even lavender flowers, chamomile flowers, rose petals. And then you add a tablespoon of sugar and you top it with water, and then you wait 5 days. I'm gonna use my apple wild yeast water, which I started Monday, I think Monday. I have like 5 jars, so I'm losing track a little bit. Okay, so here's my apple, and it's got a nice amount of activity. So if you move it upside down and back up again, I don't know if you can see with the light, but it's been forming gas, and it smells fermented. It smells like alcohol, kind of like a sparkling apple juice, maybe, if you use apples. So just so you know, this is not like store-bought yeast. It takes time. You have to have patience. And this contains your water that you need for the bread, your sugar, and your yeast. So all you need to add is your salt and your flour. Let's get started. Do 350 grams of bread flour. Okay, so do your 350 and then 150 of whole wheat. Because we also need 10 grams, between 10 and 12 grams of salt. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to strain out my apples. You don't want apple chunks in your bread. We need 360 grams of this. Just grab a spatula and you're going to roughly, so see, mine's all pretty chunky. So you're just going to move it around. Okay, so this is all you need for your bread dough. This is it right here. And hopefully you all washed your hands, because you're going to go in with your hands and start kneading it. So take off your rings. It'll get messy. Okay. So see how it's a big chunk, but it's not smooth. So now I'm going to take everything off my spatula, or most of it. You don't want to put this down the drain, because it'll clog your drain. Okay, so this is pretty sticky. I'm going to have to add a little bit more flour, but put this aside. Okay, so my bowl is not super clean, but that's okay for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this part of my hand, the fleshy part, and I'm going to start kneading it. Okay, and all you do is you push it away from you onto the counter. Okay, so why I need to do this is I need to create gluten. Gluten is a natural thing that happens when you mix water and flour, okay? And we have to do this for about 10 minutes. But this is good exercise. So keep kneading. So the window pane gluten test, I'm not there yet, because I'm not sweating enough yet. No, that was a joke. Okay, so this is just a test for the window pane test. So if you take a piece of your dough and you stretch it as thin as you can, you should be able to read newspaper through it. But you see how it broke right away? So that means I haven't created enough gluten yet. Because if you have, then it'll stay super thin without breaking. And at this point too, if you wanted to, you could add rosemary, like fresh rosemary or fresh thyme. You could also do seeds, like sunflower seeds, poppy seeds. What else is there? You could maybe add nuts. Like now is a good time to do that. But rain also makes a difference too. With moisture, you tend to need less water when it's raining out. So bread is interesting that way. So I don't know if you can see, but it's actually doing pretty good. And so if you can get it real thin without breaking, so it's still breaking a little bit more, I could probably use 2 more minutes. And if yours is breaking a lot, you could even do 2, like push 2 of your palms into it, kind of speed it up a bit. But your bread, see how like smooth it's gotten compared to in the beginning? It's a lot smoother. That's what you're looking for. And this is feeling really nice. it's not sticky anymore, and it's, I always say, it should feel like a baby's bottom. That sounds weird, but not like I go around feeling baby bottoms, but I don't know who said that to me once. Maybe it was in culinary school or something. It's nice and smooth. It's not super sticky. It comes off the counter nicely. So let's do that gluten test again. So go real thin. See if you can see, it's like, I don't know, this is good. If you can kind of, it'll start to break eventually. You're gonna put your oil in the bowl and move your dough around. Okay, perfect. So if you can see, okay, something like this. My bowl isn't perfectly clean, and that's okay. You're just looking for it to be a little bit cleaner. Okay. If you have a lid or plastic wrap or something to just cover the bowl, and I just have a glass lid. It's just easier, and I can just put it on top and leave it there. Okay, so now let's go over the timeline. So 4 hours at 28 degrees Celsius or 80 degrees Fahrenheit, or 8 hours at room temperature, okay? And then you put it in your fridge for 13 hours. So, and the fridge is great because it builds more flavor. And it also builds a darker crust when you end up baking it. So keep the bread that you just made out for 8 hours room temperature. You refrigerate it for 13 hours. And then you take it out to shape it and leave it out for 3 hours minimum, or 6 hours at room temperature. So 3 hours is in a warm place. And then you bake it. But with this bread, longer is better. This is the bread. See how it like is a lot bigger? This is pretty double in volume. The first time I made wild yeast bread, it wasn't like this. It was a lot smaller, and I didn't think it would actually work. But when I put it in the oven, it like got huge, and it was amazing, which is why I'm so excited about wild yeast bread and wanted to show you. So this is the dough. It's gone through all the processes. It was refrigerated, and now it's been out for 5 hours in a room temperature.
Adding sourdough starter.
Oh my god. I totally forgot to add the sourdough starter. Oh my god, I'm such an amateur. Okay. Well, that was a good question. Oh, yeah. So we can add it now if you want. I totally messed that up, didn't I? Okay, so I'm not going to add it now. You can add it now. If you do, add a tablespoon, okay? And you just might have to add a little bit more of flour to it. Thank you for that reminder. This is when you get ready to bake. You take your dough, and this is a little bit sticky. You need just a little bit of flour. This is really nice and soft. Okay, and I still have a load of dough on my hand, so now it's sticking. That's good. Okay, so now you want, before you bake it, you shape it. And you want to stretch it out on just a little bit of flour if need be, depending how sticky it is, on the counter. And then you roll it up tightly. And I'm going to put mine in a Dutch oven. You can put it in a cast iron pan. Just the Dutch oven or cast iron gives it a really nice, like crispy bottom, like a crispiness, okay? So you roll it up real tight, and then you pinch both ends and pinch them together. So thank you so much for joining me, and send me pictures of everything that you make.